This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves, seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak when the long night of their captivity, 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, still languishing. Promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promise. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the people a bad check which has come back marked insufficient. Question is, if I do not stop the help, what will happen to them? That's the question. We refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great vaults of opportunity of this nation. So we've come to cash this check, demand the riches of freedom. Come to this hallowed spot. Now is the time. Make real the promises. Now is the time. Dark and desolate valley. Now is the time. So we've come to cash this check, a check that will give us upon demand the riches of freedom. Rise up tonight with a greater readiness. Let us stand with a greater determination. Let us move on. In these powerful days, these days of challenge, we have an opportunity to make America a better nation. I want to thank God once more for allowing me to be here with you. You know, several years ago I was in New York City autographing the first book that I had written. While sitting there autographing books, a black woman came up. The only question I heard from her was Martin Luther King, and I was looking down writing thing, and I said yes. Next minute I felt something beating on my chest. Before I knew it, I had been stabbed by this diminished woman. I was rushed to Harlem Hospital. by the founding fathers in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Taking the whole nation back to those great wells of democracy, which were dug deep by the founding fathers in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Taking the whole nation back to those great wells of democracy, which were dug deep by the founding fathers in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Taking the whole nation back to those great wells of democracy, which were dug deep by the founding fathers in the Declaration of Whenever men and women straighten their backs up, they are going somewhere, because a man can't ride your back unless it is bent. Rally around those brothers and sisters who are suffering. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man.